Thank you. Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Eddie, for that introduction. Well, I hope everybody's having a good time. I think this has been a really special annual meeting. One reason is we've got big attendance this time. Over 1,700 people, isn't that correct? Has registered, and we're just every meal function we're just filled out to the brim, and really we just appreciate you being here, and I hope you really are having a good time. I want to remind you too that the program goes on through the day, and then this evening at 5:45, the board and our spouses, Marlene and I, we will be hosting the President's Reception, and I hope you make plans to come by. I think it will, again, be a very nice event. Hope you're able to do that. You know, Eddie introduced the board a few minutes ago and called each one of those by name. And I tell you, I just this board is special. They work hard for this organization. They have agriculture at their heart. They have Farm Bureau at their heart. And it's a pleasure for me to be able to work with them on a daily basis. And I just appreciate their hard work, their support. They're always thinking about Farm Bureau from one end of this state to the other. So again, let's recognize our board. Thank you. Thank you. You know, for all the work that goes on, and it is a lot of work, but it takes a lot of good, dedicated staff. And we have that here at Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau Federation and the insurance company is operated with folks that are talented in their positions and skilled. And you know, many of them may not be in the room right now because they're making this happen. They're off, have other duties. They're trying to make sure microphones work and lights are working and planning for the next meal function and writing press releases and registration, and all those balls are in the air constantly. And they do a wonderful job. And it takes both here we have insurance employees on site, we have Federation folks on site, and many of them are in the room, and I'd like for them to stand to be recognized. If you're an employee of the Farm Bureau Federation or insurance company, would you stand, please, to be recognized? Ladies and gentlemen, these are talented people. They're all over right back here in the back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. They do a wonderful, wonderful job. There's another group that we depend on heavily as they manage the folks within the company. And that's the division directors at the Federation and the vice presidents of our insurance company. These folks manage a lot of people. They manage a lot of programs, and they do it at a highly, highly professional level. I appreciate them, everyone. Would you stand, please, to be recognized? Our vice presidents of our insurance company and our division directors at the Federation. Thank you all so much. They're all over the building. Most are in the back here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Also got to make some recognition of some other folks that I work with on literally a daily basis, and that is our executive committee. Eddie and Fritz couldn't be any more loyal, knowledgeable supporters that I have with me to help me fulfill my job. We make a great team. Not only that, we are good friends. Thank you very much. And their wives, Regina and Lydia, spend a lot of time taking up the slack when they're away, and I appreciate the work that they do. Thank you very much for what you do. Also want to say how much I appreciate David Beck. David is part of management here, of course, in Farm Bureau, and David does an outstanding job leading the staff here at Farm Bureau. David, thank you for your dedication and everything you do. I also want to say thank you to Brad Smith. Brad has going to retire this spring. Came to me about a year ago and said he felt like it was time to start his retirement process. And Brad has given near 30 years of his life really in the management of this company. Brad started out in the legal department as a lawyer, a general counsel is where he started. He overcame that and I love lawyer jokes. But anyway, really became COO of this company and then was promoted a number of years ago in the CEO's job and has done a remarkable job running this company. Brad, thank you for your years of service, and we wish you well in retirement. And he wants to spend a lot of time in Florida. Imagine that. So anyway, the board has appointed his replacement, and John Sparrow, our current COO, has been appointed upon Brad's retirement to be the new CEO of our company. We're excited about John leading the insurance company. We know that he will do a great job working with the management team that he and Brad have in place right now. John, congratulations on your appointment. If you don't know John, I'm going to ask him to stand to be recognized. John Sparrow. Welcome him as the new CEO of our insurance company. Thank you. I also want to express my thanks for, on a daily basis, the folks that I really depend on as much as anything too, and that's Rachel Thomas and Beth Wissman, Paula Stidham and Monica Shockley. Where are you folks all together? Would you stand so we can recognize you? Rachel, Beth, Monica, Paula, if you're here, thank you all for what you do. You make my life much, much easier. Also want to say that I want to really recognize my family that is here. Marlene, my wife, is here. Marlene and I have been married 45 years. I know the number, 45 years. But she has been a supporter of mine from day one and has made sure that I was ready to go every day and continued to always push me forward and be a great supporter. Thank you, Marlene, and she is right down here, as always, supporting me. Our children couldn't be here today. We have 3 grandchildren and 3 children, and we love them dearly, as you do your family. I also want to recognize my brother that he and I have been partners really our whole business life, and Don and Ann. I know Don's in the back there, and thank you for, Don stays and really runs the farm on a day-to-day basis, and he and I get there on weekends, and we make decisions and keep things going, and I appreciate the work that they do very much. I also want to say thanks to my county farm bureau that's always supported me many times when I couldn't be there to help with things that needed to be going on at the county level. They recognized that and understood that, and my district, District 7, has always been hugely supportive of me, and I appreciate them very much. You know, our theme, as mentioned today, a good thing growing, and that's exactly appropriate for this year. We have had a good year in Farm Bureau this year. This morning, we gave away numerous awards. I know you all thought, are they ever going to quit giving away awards? But truthfully, we had lots of awards to give away because we had a great year. This theme is right on target for the year that we've had. Now, we had also a good growing year for the most part in agriculture. We acknowledge, unfortunately, seem like the better the growing years we have, the worse prices get. But those cycles come and go, and we've talked about that numerous times through this annual meeting, starting with the outlook that the Ag Econ Department did from UK and really told us what we knew, We knew that, we're going to deal with a tougher year coming ahead with net farm income being drastically down for this year. However, we are in it for the long haul. Cycles come and go in agriculture, just like they always have and continue to be that way. This year in Farm Bureau was good for us. After missing quota for 3 years, now we're back and we made quota this year. 468,256 members on the rolls of Farm Bureau this year. A good number. Really, it allowed us time to that 3-year window to reset the clock. And we knew that we had to do that. We were on 50 years of continuous growth, and we knew that we couldn't sustain that. We were making decisions that were not good for our company, not good for Farm Bureau. We were pushing too far, and we had to make some decisions to reset that clock. In the meantime, with the total support of both companies, Federation and the insurance company, said we've got to get this fixed, and it was for the betterment of Farm Bureau. So we're allowed to do that. What the results of that? Farm Bureau, Federation never missed a beat. Programs continued to remain strong. Even grow programs, we were able to do that within this time, while allowing the insurance company to get stronger, to get more profitable, to put the business in the proper categories that needed to be able to utilize our agents and agency managers and all the folks that were working to help get profitability where it needed to be in the insurance company. All that worked. And ladies and gentlemen, looking back, it was a brilliant plan. It was a brilliant plan. We now have a strong company. We have this year 25,000 more auto policies than we did last year. Isn't that the number? 25,000 more on the books. Unfortunately, we've got them in there with maybe a little less premium than we had a few years ago, so that may be part of the equation. However, we're back in a growth pattern, but we're back in a growth pattern that's going to be profitable for us, hopefully, and certainly going to manage the company and can continue to be stronger. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done. We couldn't have done that without the help of everybody involved, particularly our agents and agency managers across the state of Kentucky. Many of you are here today. I appreciate you being here, taking a part in Farm Bureau and showing your support for this company and for this federation, because it takes the whole team effort to be able to do that. I've traveled the state many miles this year with others as we have, and we've been so impressed with the work that you do out in the counties. I've been to many legislative recognition dinners. I've been to County Farm Bureau annual meetings. We've been to see the work that you've done with career days and ag days and all the things that you have done to talk about agriculture in a positive way in your community. And the whole time while you've done that, you have built relationships with the folks within your community, and you have built relationships with your elected leaders and our elected leaders, whether it's at the federal level or whether it's at the state level, and certainly in the county courthouses. You have those relationships. Those folks know you by name, and that is important. That is important. It's hard to lobby folks if they don't know who you are, and they especially don't know what your issues are. So I congratulate you on being able to talk about agriculture in a positive way. It is so important that we continue to do that. You know, in our insurance company, again, I'm proud of the work that we have done, and you know, we're in the business to protect the assets of rural Kentucky, and that's what we do. That is the reason we exist. So it's our job to be able to take that premium, pay that claim when it's needed, and when it makes you whole and protects you. And that's what our business is, and we're going to continue to move forward in that arena. I just am so proud of both companies to be able to see us moving forward in those right directions. Now, I also want to say congratulations, of course, to our governor-elect that was with us yesterday. I thought it was very appropriate that he come even before he has been inaugurated as governor. He made the effort to come and be with us, he and both Commissioner-elect Quarles, to be with us yesterday. You know, we're blessed to be able to work, have the opportunity to work with his administration as they go forward. We are serving on his transition team in various forms. We're also serving on the transition team for Commissioner Quarles as he puts his administration in place. And I just want you to be assured that we have great relationships with those folks. And we committed, as we did yesterday, to be there and work with them on a daily basis, just as they want us to be or need us to be. You know, we want to be a committed and a trusted partner to the folks that we work with on a daily basis as an organization. I'm talking about other commodity groups. I'm talking about agencies within state government. You know, we in agriculture depend on state government for a whole lot more than we sometimes that we talk about. Every agency really in state government we deal with in some way. We have a staff person or a lobbying team or someone in both companies, agriculture or insurance, that are dealing with those folks. And we want them to know that we are committed to be a partner, a trusted partner, and we want to be able to work in all parts of government. As always, I want to say that we are going to always be committed to leadership programs, just as we have here today. And thank you for being here and enjoyed your comments very much. But groups like FFA, 4-H, FCCLA, other youth groups, ours included, our Young Farmer program, our LEAD program, all those things, we put a tremendous amount of resource in support of all those. And we think that is the right thing to do here in Kentucky, especially at Farm Bureau. We've got to move at every time they need us. We've got to be there. You know, it also, though, gives us an opportunity as the new administration is coming in, and we talked at the table yesterday with the new elected governor, Governor Bevin, and he talked about wanting to take a businessman's approach to things in state government. And he says, you know, we're going to look at all programs, and we're going to look at what's good investment and what's being utilized that's worthwhile. And we had a long conversation about that. But, you know, we in Farm Bureau need to do the same thing. We need to examine what we are doing. We need to always look at our programs. If they need improvement, then we need to be able to do that. We don't really need sacred cows in programs just for the fact of having those. We don't want to necessarily do things just because that's the way we've always done it. That won't get us very far as an organization as we want to lead into the future. We have to examine those, and we're willing to do that, and I think we're committed, and we have talked that we will do that this year. We will look at programs to make sure we're getting the bang for the buck that's spent there, and that the outcome is really where it needs to be. So I think you expect us in our roles to take that position and take that approach. And anyway, that's what we plan to do this year. Take a look at our programs. We will also, for this next year and this year we've just finished up, we have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort dealing with water and water management and water as a resource. And you've heard us talk about that. And yesterday we had a special session yesterday afternoon talking about that. At this time, a year ago, we announced the formation of a working group. We call it the Water Management Working Group, and Steve Coleman that's here today. Steve, thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you've done leading this group all year long. That is an important body of work. Why is water so important? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? That's what sustains us for life. And we cannot take that for granted. We talk about really what we're going to have to do in the future to meet the growing population. Globally, we're going to increase, you've heard the numbers, significantly in the next 25, 30 years. There's two things that are going to have to happen for us to accomplish the goals to be able to grow the food that we're going to need to feed the world and feed ourselves. First off is we're going to have a lot of research that's not necessarily in place yet. We know that to be able to accomplish those things, we have to have research both at the public level, and we're going to have research at the private level. And we're going to have to be able to marry those two and reach the areas that we need to expand production. And that's what we're talking about, is expanding production. At the same time, we are being asked to do it with less inputs, less land, less water, less chemical, less all inputs. So to be able to accomplish that, and we think we can, research is a major part of that. Then we've got to be able to apply that research and disseminate the information. That's why our partnership with our flagship universities, our land grants across America are so important, to be able to take that information and disseminate it through our extension programs. And the way that is accomplished will be exactly the way we do it here in Kentucky. So that is a need, a must. Along with that is the need for water. We know we have to have clean water, and we want clean water, and we think we have the plan in place to allow us to continue to do that. However, we think the quantity of water is becoming more and more important, and we talked about that numerous times over the past year. We've seen what's gone on in the West, the Southwest, now in the southern parts of our state, or in our nation. We've got folks that we know that live in parts of Texas that tell us it hadn't rained there in 3 years. Those are serious, serious things as they spread, and that does move around. Right now, I understand we've got about the strongest El Nino working in the Pacific Ocean right now for many, many years. That will have impact on our weather system as we move forward. I read that they say that system will probably be the drought breaker for California in the coming months. Hopefully that happens. What is bad, there's good and bad. What's bad, it will change maybe the weather pattern for where we live. We don't know that, but those are all the things that you read about in forecasting from the meteorologists and the folks right now. However, the point that I want to make is we can't be on this water question quick enough, early enough, and being able to get the decisions that we need to be made. The work of the Water Management Group is now, they have come with a number of things that they think that we need to be looking at, and our resolutions committee has already met, talked about those, and have proposed some of those changes that we will vote on this afternoon in our business session. But one is that we need a definite, specific drought mitigation plan here in Kentucky that is specific to agriculture. Now, we are mentioned in that, but it's not specific enough. When we get in a drought situation, lines get blurred. Who gets what? Who? How? What's the pecking order? All that. We need to have that more definite, more in place. That is one of the things that this committee has talked and worked about. We need to know that we have to be able to monitor and do a better job monitoring for water stability in the state of Kentucky. So there will be some infrastructure that need to be put in place to be able to do that. We know that we need to have technical assistance if we're going to do on-farm water structures, whether it's water retention, irrigation, whatever it is. We need some technical assistance to be able to get that in place. We're going to have some changes in Washington, D.C. and regulatory mode right there, NRCS and other places. Those are some of the things that we need to be working on. Then we think there needs to be an entity put in place to be able to manage and be able to advocate for water structures here in Kentucky, whether it is community type water structures or individual water structures on the farm. Somebody needs to have oversight of that, be able to manage that, be able to receive some funding, to be able to plan for that. So we think there is some, whether it's a commission but it needs to be formed in a way that it is an entity of its own. So those are just some things that we think need to happen. I hope you feel the same thing, and we're going to be working on that going in for the next year. We also, as we move into this next legislative session, we want to continue the things that we've always worked for and think that is very important, and that's continue to invest 50% of that money into the Ag Development Board. I'm talking about our tobacco settlement monies, and keep our Governor's Office of Ag Policy in place, active and working forward. We will continue to watch things like House Bill 44 as how it relates to taxation on our property. The road fund is extremely important to us. We will be a watchdog, of course, on the rural road fund and how we continue to maintain those roads. Things that we have worked for years and years on exemptions that make sense for us that other businesses are able to capture and we can't. We think that we want to continue to work and keep those in place. Another thing that we talk often about is the Fair Board. A lot of changes in the last few years, and a lot of controversy really circled around the Fair Board, and we saw that, understood that, and entered into conversations ourselves with many of you. You know, we have a new proposal, a resolution in play right here that, again, we will vote on this afternoon, that calls that we think there needs to be 50% of the Fair Board made up representing agriculture. I think that is a common sense approach. That is our front window, the Fair and Exposition Center is for agriculture. That is our showcase window out there. We think that we should have representation there. We in Farm Bureau have a seat. We intend to keep that. We also think we need to advocate for more people to be there, and we will do that as well. We think that is a thing that we need to be doing. We spend a lot of our resource in promotion at the state fair. We support the state fair itself. We support the North American Farm Machinery Show. We get involved there. We spend a lot of our resource, time, and effort at the Kentucky Farm Bureau Beef Expo in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture. We think that we want a say at the Fair Board, and we think that we expect some legislative action probably this coming session on that. We are seeing that and we think that will probably happen. This will be a budget session, of course, and we will be there. Those are important sessions for Kentucky, and we think we will certainly be there. You know, there's a lot to figure out about running this Commonwealth and being able to get the appropriate level of funding to run state government is important. We want to really be there and watch that. We think what we do with the retirement programs and the pension programs for our teachers and for our state workers. Many of your families and many of our families where we live all over Kentucky are involved in those. We are in education. We think we have to do the appropriate thing right there, and we want to be there to support that. That's important to us, to you, certainly all over Kentucky. So those are some big things that's coming. I think it is time that we can't continue to kick the can down the street. We've talked about it for many years. When we're together, we talk about taxes in Kentucky. The governor made reference of that yesterday. He and I had a conversation privately at the table over lunch yesterday. And, our policy is pretty clear. We think taxes in Kentucky need to be broad-based. We can't put taxes on the backs of just certain parts of our folks in Kentucky. It needs to be a broad base. We in Kentucky also need to be in a place that we're on par and we're able to be competitive with the other states where we live in our region. We need to be able to be positive for growth, for business. Some of the practices we have in Kentucky are terribly disincentive to business in Kentucky. We think those need to be addressed. Basically, for the most part, things that are good for small businesses is good for agriculture because we are small businesses. I think it's time to start looking and being able to address that. Is it going to happen quickly and at one fell swoop? Of course not. That would be disruptive. We understand that. But we can't always say, well, this is election year. We can't look at that. We've got to wait till the timing is better. You know, we've done that for years. And we will never get to where we need to be in a state if we don't show leadership all across the state of Kentucky, especially in Frankfort. It's time to look at some of those things. So we're going to be advocating that. I don't know when that may happen, but it won't ever happen until we start talking about it and being able to discuss that. So we think the time is right. I want to talk just briefly for a minute about my role at American Farm Bureau. I enjoy that immensely. I hope I represent you well in a way that you would expect me to, and I meet those expectations. But the role that American Farm Bureau have is extremely important for us in agriculture. They are closer in Washington than sometimes we realize. They are at the pulse beat right there, and if we work with them and we make ourselves and our ideas known and the policies we have in Kentucky, what we expect them to represent us, then I have to be able to voice that in our board meetings. And I have to be able to voice that to our staff folks at American Farm Bureau. And I have to be able to have a relationship with the president of American Farm Bureau to make sure he understands what's important to us here in Kentucky. You know, we're going through elections at the American Farm Bureau level. Bob Stallman has been president for 16 years. He has decided it's time for him to retire and go back to Texas. And, Bob has done a wonderful job. I think he has been a great spokesman for agriculture in his tenure. Bob, not only is he large in stature, but he's large in in commanding attention when it comes to expressing his opinion. And I've seen him, I've been on foreign soils with him, representing American agriculture and holding his own. And Bob can do that, believe me, he can do that. And he has represented us well. And he deserves a nice time in retirement because he has worked well. But we are going to elect a new president come January in Orlando. Many of these folks right here, almost all of them that will be there will be delegates, and we will choose a new president when we get there. We have good folks running. We have folks that are passionate, they're smart, they understand agriculture. The choice won't be easy, but we will make the right choice. I feel confident of that. There's some big issues out there that we read about today that we need to continue to push forward. Trade is a big issue, and I talked about Bob's ability to help lead us in trade. This TPP is in the play right now, as you know. I think it is a win-win for us in agriculture. It does have issues. We will quickly agree with that. It's got some funny things in tobacco going on. Maybe dairy's not where it needs to be, but overall, the picture is it will be a big benefit for Kentucky agriculture. We think that needs to push forward, and our board at American Farm Bureau feels the same way, and that's what we are encouraging them to do. We also hear so much about waters of the U.S., WOTUS, that we talk about. And ladies and gentlemen, that is one of the most disruptive things that we will have for generations to come if that reaches fulfillment. And the EPA is able to implement that on our farms and on our properties and in our communities, in the lands of Kentucky and all across America. That will have lasting results for generations. I don't know how that's going to end. We have been unsuccessful at every step of the way. Right now, it is stayed by a court order, really, by a judge, because of what we have done has been a part of the lawsuit that was brought on by states, 14 states involved in a lawsuit, so the judge has put that at stay. That is not a permanent thing. That will come to a conclusion, and then what happens is, I don't know. It has to be a legislative fix. We have to pass legislation to put that at rest. The House has passed it. The Senate, we can't get the votes in there to override a majority. You have to have a supermajority to be able to do a veto, to get by a veto on that. And we know this administration will veto that. This is what they have promoted the whole time. So if we can't get the vote to put it in play where we need it right now, we certainly can't get the vote to get a supermajority. So until something changes, this administration changes, or we're able to get a president in that will sign the legislation that comes up, then we're at a stalemate on this issue. And it is a big one. But we will continue to be there. We will continue to monitor and push on this. One other issue that I want to talk about that we read about in the news right now, and that's the GMO issue and the labeling that goes with that. It was in the news yesterday, and we thought it was going to be maybe come to a vote yesterday in the Senate, and then I got an email that it's off for the rest of this year probably. So we did not achieve what we wanted to achieve. This GMO thing breeds a lot of confusion to the general public out there. You and I know the answer to this. The GMO train left the station a long time ago, and if we're going to continue to do the things in agriculture that we've talked about and how we're going to feed our nation and the world. GMO is a part of that system right there. But the labeling is what is now confusing lots of people. What's GMO? What is not? What is conventional? What happens when you blend the two together? How do you read a label? And this state wants to do it one way. Vermont's already passed some legislation. They're going to have it their way in Vermont. Now states want to make their label. And if we have 50 states and 50 labels, can you imagine how much confusion that's going to create across the folks? I don't think we can survive that and have that and get to where we need to be. So hopefully that's an issue that I hope you get in tune with. I hope you study that, learn about that, be able to talk about GMOs and what that means, and that base your opinion on sound science, and be able to base your conversation on sound science, and be able to share that with the folks as they move forward, and what the labeling really should mean. What we've said, we want to be a part of the trade and all over the world. We want to be a part of that. We belong to the WTO. That's how we trade. We in Kentucky feel like that we support free trade. We in America support free trade. So we have to be a part of that. We can't have a labeling issue that is not compliant with WTO. I just think if you are going to trade in that, it has to be compliant, and it has to not cause confusion. So I think we will continue to work on that going forward. My challenge to you today, and really here's the message: be knowledgeable on these issues. 3 things: be knowledgeable, be engaged, and be involved. That's what we need in agriculture, those 3 things. Knowledgeable about the issues. Some of these are complicated. They are many sides, many facets, but let's always hang our decisions on what is scientifically proven and hang our hat there. Let's don't run on emotion. It'll get us killed. We have to base it on the science. And then we have to be engaged. Be engaged with Farm Bureau. Be engaged with other commodity groups that have interests that you're a part of. Take a role, take a leadership. We want to be a partner with them organizationally. We want to be a partner with them with our members. We want to be involved. Be engaged in that. And then be involved in our communities. And this is important too, extremely important. If we're able to talk about the issues and we're knowledgeable, and we get into a situation where, whether it's at church or whether it's at the post office or at the coffee shop or at the store that we go to, or maybe it's over the Christmas dinner at the family reunion, and you find people that's just spewing these myths about agriculture. Have the courage to stand up or speak up, more importantly, and say, that's not exactly right. And here's how it actually is. And set the record straight, because we need to have the record straight, and we need to have the folks to really understand what proper agriculture, what proper policy is. And we'll never do that unless we prepare ourselves. At your county level, at your county board meetings, I encourage you to discuss these issues. Talk about them. Make sure that everybody on the board understands what the issue is and what's out there brewing. Call your APD. Have them there. Call the staff at Farm Bureau. Call the staff at Cattlemen's Association or the Corn Growers or the Dairy Council. Any of those folks. We need to be on the same page. We need to be delivering the message of agriculture here in Kentucky that we all believe, and it's based in our policy book right there. So I encourage you to do that. really at all times. I also want to say that I really appreciate the opportunity that you give me to represent you here in Kentucky. I don't take it lightly. I just appreciate so much the opportunity that you allow me. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for that. With that, I want to say have the rest of this annual meeting. I hope it's as much fun the rest of the time it has been up until this point, and enjoy that. God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas to each of you as we move into the system. Thank you.